Welcome to Season 8 of the Finding Peace podcast. This season is focused on practical, trauma-informed tools you can use in everyday life. When emotions run high, relationships feel heavy, or your nervous system needs support. Short episodes designed to help you find more peace, joy, and connection, one moment at a time. Please welcome the host of the Finding Peace podcast, best-selling author, psychotherapist, and speaker, Troy L. Love.
It's a Tuesday night around 8:30 p.m. You both have had a long day. The kitchen is finally clean, the house is quiet, and you sit down together on the couch with your partner. You picked up your phone to check the quick email or maybe scroll on Facebook for a few seconds to wind down, and then your partner turns to you, their voice quiet, and says, "I feel like you've been somewhere else all night." In less than a second, something inside of you snaps into action. Before they even finish the sentence, your body has reacted. Your chest is tightened, your jaw is clenched, and your mind went straight to working in building a defense. That's not fair. I spent the last hour helping with dinner. Or, I just opened my phone for a few seconds. Or, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted. Can't we just have 5 minutes to relax? Or, I have spent all day working for this family. Within 3 seconds, you had an airtight closing argument ready for court. So, you opened your mouth and you delivered it. You explained how busy your day was. You pointed out that you were present during dinner, that you helped with the dishes. You gave context. You offered a logical reason for every single minute of your evening. And when you finished, you looked at your partner, expecting them to say, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. You're right." But instead, the distance between you has grown even wider. They have gone quiet, pulled away, or maybe even walked into the other room. Here's the trap. Every single word of your explanation might have been true. You were tired. You did help with dinner. Your intention wasn't to ignore them, but in that moment, your partner wasn't looking for a trial. They were looking for a connection. They were describing their impact, and you were defending your intent. That sudden, burning need to explain yourself, fix the mood, or prove your innocence right away was pretty quick. The urgency wasn't clarity, it was activation. And when tension rises, our nervous system hears standard emotional feedback as a threat to our safety or our self-worth. And when we mistake nervous system activation for clear communication, we end up defending ourselves right out of connection. In this episode, we're going to explore why the urge to fix, explain, or defend is so powerful, and what it's actually trying to protect us from, and how slowing down in critical moments can actually save our relationships. Defensiveness is often a protection against shame. Shame does not simply say you made a mistake. Shame says you are the mistake. It tells you you're bad, you're failing, you're unlovable, you're disappointing. You are about to be rejected. You're about to be abandoned. You're about to be neglected. You're about to lose this relationship. When someone expresses disappointment, frustration, or pain, our nervous system may not hear there's something we need to talk about. What it hears is, "Oh, I'm wrong." And then, "Oh, I'm unsafe." For someone with a history of attachment wounds, criticism, rejection, abandonment, betrayal, or emotional unpredictability, even a relatively small complaint can feel like the beginning of a much larger threat. Our body may react before our logical mind has time to evaluate what's actually happening. Our heart rate increases, our chest tightens, our jaw clenches, our thoughts speed up. Our attention narrows. We begin searching for evidence. We replay the event. We look for inconsistencies. We prepare for an argument. Our nervous system is desperately trying to restore safety, and one of the fastest ways it knows how to do that is through control. If I can control how you understand the situation, then maybe I will be safe. If I can convince you that I did not do anything wrong, then maybe you won't run away or pull away. If I can solve this problem immediately, maybe I will not have to sit with your disappointment. If I can explain my intent, maybe I will not have to feel so bad about myself. The urge to fix, explain, or defend is often less about communication and more about emotional survival. Explaining isn't necessarily unhealthy. There are many times when context matters. Misunderstandings do happen. Important information can change how an event is interpreted. The problem is not explanation itself. The problem is using explanation to avoid accountability, to avoid being vulnerable, or try to get away from emotional discomfort. Consider the difference between these two responses. The first response says, "I'm sorry you felt ignored, but I was only checking an important message." The second response says, "I can understand why that felt dismissive. You were sharing something important and I shifted my attention to my phone. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's some context I'd like to share, but I want to understand what your experience was like first." Both responses contain context, but only one begins with connection. One attempts to erase the impact. The other makes room for the impact before offering an explanation. Understanding does not have to happen immediately. Context can wait. Safety cannot. Defending usually appears when we feel accused. We may hear a statement such as, "You weren't there for me," and immediately think, that is completely unfair. Look at how much I've been doing for you." And you may be right. You may have shown up dozens of times. You may have made sacrifices the other person has forgotten. But the statement, "You weren't there for me," may not be a courtroom accusation. It may be an emotionally imprecise way of saying, "I'm feeling really alone right now." When we respond to the literal wording, we likely will miss the emotional message underneath it. This does not mean that we have to accept every accusation as fact. It does not mean that we have to surrender our perspective. It does not mean tolerating manipulation, verbal abuse, or false allegations. It means becoming curious about the pain beneath the words before building our defense. We might say, "When you say I wasn't there for you, can you help me understand what moment felt the most painful?" Or, "I noticed that I want to defend myself right now, but I don't want that reaction to prevent me from hearing what you're trying to say." That is emotional strength. Strength is not proving that you're right as quickly as possible. Strength is remaining present when a part of us desperately wants to run away. Some people do not defend through argument. They defend through solutions. We call that in the burpees rescuing. We defend through solutions. We become intensely practical. Somebody says, "I'm overwhelmed," and we respond, "Okay, let's make a list, and then we can check it off one by one." Somebody says, "I feel really disconnected from you," and we say, "Fine, let's schedule a date." Someone says, "I am still hurt by what happened," and we respond, "I already said I'm sorry. What else do you want from me? Oh my gosh." Fixing can be a way of communicating love. Many people learned that being useful was how they earned belonging. So they became the helper. the rescuer, the responsible one, the person who solved the problem. But fixing can also become a way to avoid emotional intimacy. A problem can be solved, and pain must be witnessed. A problem gives us something to do. Pain asks us to stay present. A problem creates movement. Pain sometimes requires stillness. When we immediately offer a solution, the other person may feel as though their emotions have been an inconvenience that needs to be eliminated. Sometimes the most connecting response is not, "Here's what we should do." It would be, "That sounds really painful. I'm here. Tell me more." "Oh, you don't have to feel better for me to stay with you." One of the most important relational skills is learning to hold intent and impact at the same time. Our intentions matter. The impact also matters. We can have loving intentions and still cause pain. We can be trying our best and still miss something important. We can be a good person and still behave defensively. We can make a mistake without becoming a mistake. This is where shame resilience becomes essential. If admitting impact means admitting that we are fundamentally bad, we are going to fight against accountability. But if we believe that our worth remains intact even when we make mistakes, we can become more curious. We can say, that is not what I intended, but I can see that hurt you. Or we can say, I want to explain what was happening for me, but I don't want my explanation to erase your experience. Or we could say, I care more about understanding what happened between us than proving that I was innocent. Accountability becomes much easier when our identity is not on trial. So here's the finding peace reframe. Understanding can wait. Safety cannot. When both people are activated, trying to achieve perfect understanding may actually make things worse. The conversation becomes faster, voices become louder, words become sharper. Every person gathers more evidence. Every person interrupts. Each person feels increasingly unseen. At that point, the goal should not be resolution. The goal needs to be regulation. Before the story can be sorted out, the nervous system needs to feel safer. So it might sound like, I want to keep talking about this, but I can feel myself becoming defensive. Or, I care about what you're saying and I need a moment to slow down so I can hear you. Or, I'm not leaving the conversation. I just need 10 minutes to regulate and then I'll come back. Or, I notice that I'm trying to rescue this instead of being with you. Or, I want to understand, but first I need to help my body recognize that I am safe. Slowing down is not avoidance when we clearly communicate that we will return. A pause becomes abandonment when it's used to punish, disappear, or refuse engagement. A healthy pause, however, protects the conversation. So think about a time when somebody confronted you about something. Maybe they said you were insensitive, controlling, unavailable, selfish, distracted, defensive. What happened inside of you? Did you feel heat in your face? Did your stomach drop? Did your mind immediately start building a response? Did you begin remembering all the times they had done something similar? Did you feel the need to correct every exaggerated word? That reaction may tell you something important. The intensity of your response may not only belong to the present conversation, it is likely connected to older attachment wounds. Maybe we grew up in a home where mistakes were dangerous. Maybe being misunderstood meant punishment. Maybe apologizing meant surrendering all power. Maybe we had a parent, a partner, or an authority figure who twisted our words. Maybe we learned that we had to explain ourselves perfectly to be believed. Maybe nobody cared about our intentions. Maybe conflict ended in rejection, silence, humiliation, or abandonment. Our nervous system remembers. This does not excuse harmful behavior, but it does help explain why a relatively ordinary conversation can feel like an emergency. You are not only responding to what is being said now, we are also responding to the wounded part of us that is probably trying to prevent what happened back then from happening again. So the next time you notice the urge to rescue, explain, or defend, maybe you would begin with a question. Am I trying to be understood, or am I trying to feel safe? Don't judge the answer. Simply notice. We may realize, I am trying to make this person agree with me so I can calm down, or I am offering solutions because their sadness makes me uncomfortable. Or, I am explaining every detail because I'm terrified of being seen as a bad person. Or, I am trying to end this conversation because I feel trapped. Once we notice what is happening, then we can try this 4-step practice. Step 1, pause our mouth. We don't have to say the first response that enters our mind. We can take a slow breath, unclench our jaw, lower our shoulders, feel our feet against the floor. Allow for a few seconds of silence. Now I know silence may feel dangerous when we are activated, but a small pause can keep our protective reaction from taking control. Step 2. Name what is happening. Silently say, one of my attachment wounds is being hit. This feels threatening. I want to defend myself. Shame has just entered the building. My body thinks that I'm in danger. Naming the experience creates a little distance between us and the reaction. We are not the defensiveness. We are noticing defensiveness. Step 3. Validate before explaining. We might say, I can understand why that hurt you. Or, I can see how my behavior has affected you. Or, that makes a lot of sense seeing it from your perspective. Or, I want to hear more. Can you share a little bit more about that? Validation does not mean that we agree with every minute detail. It means communicating that the other person's emotional experience is real and that the other person matters to us. And then step 4, ask what is needed. We could ask, would you like me to just listen, offer comfort, or do you want me to help you find a solution? This question can prevent us from giving the wrong kind of support. Sometimes the person does want a plan. Sometimes they want clarification. Sometimes they simply want to know that they're not alone. And what do we do if we are the person who's hurting? It also helps to recognize that the person raising a concern or is getting defensive may be activated. They may be using absolute words like, you always do this. You never listen. You do not care. Those words can trigger defensiveness quickly. When possible, describe the specific experience rather than judging the person's character. Instead of, you never care about me, we might say, when you started looking at your phone while I was talking, that really triggered my attachment wound of rejection, and the stories that my shadow showed up said is, I'm not important. I don't matter. Or instead of saying, man, you are so defensive, we might say, when you begin explaining before I finish, I feel like there isn't any room for my experience. Instead of, you always try to fix this, we might say, hey, I know that you're trying to help, and I appreciate that. I don't need a solution right now. I just need you to sit and listen to me. I think that together we can come up with a plan after I feel heard. Clear requests help safety for both people. Now, we are not going to do this perfectly. We are going to interrupt. We are going to defend. We will explain too quickly. We will try to fix something that is attached to an emotion. The goal is not perfection. The goal is recovery. We can notice what happened and come back. We might say, hey, I realized I was rescuing again instead of listening. Or, hey, I was trying to prove my intent, but I missed the impact. Or, I think I started solving the problem because I feel really helpless right now. Or, can we try this conversation again? Or, I want to hear what you were trying to tell me. I'm going to do better at listening this time. Repair is one of the most powerful skills in a relationship. We don't need to avoid every disconnection. We do need to learn how to recognize it, take responsibility, and move back towards one another. The urge to rescue, explain, or defend is not evidence that we are broken. It may be evidence that some part of us is trying to protect us from shame, rejection, helplessness, or loss. That part may believe that being right is going to keep us safe. That explaining perfectly will preserve the relationship. That solving the problem will eliminate the pain. But connection rarely comes from winning an argument. It comes from creating enough safety for both people to remain present. So the next time tension rises, notice the urgency. Notice the case that we are building. Notice the solution we might be preparing. Notice the part of us that wants discomfort to end right now. No more. I don't want to feel it. It's uncomfortable. And then pause and ask, am I trying to be understood or am I trying to feel safe? We may need reassurance. We may need a breath. We may need a pause. We may need to remind ourselves, I can make a mistake and still be worthy. I can be misunderstood and still be safe. I can hear someone's pain without losing myself. My intentions matter, but so does my impact. Understanding can wait. Safety cannot. And sometimes the most loving thing we can do is to stop trying to win, to stop trying to fix, to stop trying to be right, and rather stay present long enough for our connection to return. Because slowing down protects connection far more than being right. And honestly, you don't have to be right to prove that you are worthy of love and belonging.
You've been listening to the Finding Peace podcast. Special thanks to Intrex for providing the theme music for this season and helping set the tone for reflection, grounding, and hope. If this episode supported you, please like, subscribe, and share the Finding Peace podcast. Your support helps these practical, trauma-informed tools reach more people who are seeking peace, clarity, and connection. To explore more resources, workshops, and upcoming events, visit findingpeaceconsulting.com. The Finding Peace podcast is hosted by best-selling author, psychotherapist, and speaker Troy L. Love. Until next time, remember, you are worthy of love and belonging.